It was a typical Wednesday evening when my wife, Eliza, walked into the living room, her radiant smile lighting up the dim space. She had just received a call about a casting for a prestigious modeling agency, and I could see the excitement bubbling beneath her cool exterior. The allure of the fashion world had always captivated her, and I encouraged her dreams, even if it made me uneasy. "Babe, I got the audition!" she exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with ambition. I felt a twinge of jealousy, but I masked it with support. "That's amazing! You'll be great," I replied, trying to sound enthusiastic. As the days passed, Eliza dove into preparations. She spent hours in front of the mirror, practicing poses and perfecting her makeup. The air around our apartment buzzed with a strange mix of anticipation and anxiety. I couldn't shake the feeling that something was changing within her, but I brushed it aside. On the day of the casting, Eliza was a vision. She wore a fitted black dress that accentuated her curves, the fabric clinging to her in all the right places. When she left for the audition, I found myself staring at the door long after she had gone, a sense of foreboding washing over me. That evening, she returned later than expected, her cheeks flushed and her hair slightly disheveled. The moment she stepped through the door, I noticed the way she was glowing, a secret fire in her eyes that I had never seen before. "How did it go?" I asked, trying to sound casual. "It went really well. The casting director, Mark, was intense," she said, biting her lip with a hint of mischief. My stomach twisted at her words, but I pushed down the unease. In the following weeks, Eliza received callbacks from the agency, and Mark became a frequent name in our conversations. I couldn't help but notice the way she lit up when she mentioned him, her enthusiasm laced with something I couldn't quite place. Each time she left for another meeting with him, I felt a tightening in my chest. One evening, after a particularly late audition, she returned home smelling of expensive perfume and something else, something intoxicating. The moment she walked in, she pulled me close, her breath warm against my skin. "You'll never believe what happened tonight," she whispered, her voice low and sultry. I felt my heart race. "What happened?" "Mark said I have the potential to be his next star. He wants to help me break into the industry," she replied, her eyes gleaming with ambition. The way she said his name sent shivers down my spine, igniting a jealousy I couldn't ignore. The following days unfolded like a dark, twisted dream. I began to notice subtle changes in Eliza. She became distant, her late-night meetings with Mark stretching longer. Each time she returned, her eyes held secrets that gnawed at me. I tried to confront her, but she brushed off my concerns with laughter, claiming I was being paranoid. Then, one fateful night, I decided to follow her. I drove through the city, my heart pounding as I traced her route to the agency. I parked down the street, my pulse quickening as I watched her walk toward the building. I waited in the shadows, feeling the weight of betrayal heavy on my shoulders. Hours passed, and just when I was about to leave, the door swung open. Eliza stepped out, Mark beside her, his hand resting gently on the small of her back. They laughed, their chemistry palpable, an electric tension sparking between them that made my blood boil. I watched, rooted to the spot, as they leaned in closer, their bodies inches apart. The world around me faded, and all I could see was her smile, bright and inviting, as she whispered something in his ear that sent a chill down my spine. In that moment I realized I was losing her to the very dream I had supported. And the worst part? I was powerless to stop it. As I stood in the shadows, the scene before me unfolded like a slow-motion nightmare. Eliza, with her radiant smile and alluring laughter, was lost in a world I no longer recognized. Mark leaned closer, and I could see the way his fingers brushed against her arm, sending electric shivers down her spine. It was an intimacy I had never imagined, and the jealousy clawed at my insides. I strained to hear their conversation, but the murmur of their voices was drowned out by the throbbing of my heart. Then, suddenly, Mark leaned in, his lips grazing her ear. She giggled softly, a sound that twisted the knife deeper into my heart. The way she responded to him, eyes sparkling, body leaning into his, was a stark contrast to the way she had looked at me just weeks before. My breath caught in my throat as I saw Mark's hand slip around her waist, pulling her closer. They were wrapped up in their own world, oblivious to everything around them. I could feel the heat rising within me, an overwhelming mix of anger and a strange, desperate longing to confront them, to reclaim what felt lost. Just as I was about to step forward, Eliza leaned into Mark, her lips brushing against his cheek, lingering for just a moment longer than necessary. That single, innocent gesture ignited a firestorm of emotions within me. The realization hit me like a wave: she was not just captivated by her career, she was enthralled by him. I turned away, my mind racing. I couldn't bear to watch any longer. Instead, I drove home, each bump in the road mirroring the turmoil within me. I felt as if I was losing her to someone who could offer her everything I could not. The world of modeling, of glitz and glamour, was pulling her into its depths, and I was powerless to pull her back. That night, I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, imagining the worst. What if she had crossed the line with him? What if he had whispered sweet nothings that ignited a fire in her that I could no longer reach? The thought consumed me, and sleep eluded me. Days turned into weeks, and the distance between Eliza and me grew. She was becoming more absorbed in her new life, and every time she returned from a meeting, there was a spark in her eyes that I had never seen before, an excitement that didn't belong to me. Then one evening, she returned home late again, and this time, she was different. Her hair was tousled, and her cheeks were flushed, but there was something else, a sense of boldness, of liberation. She slipped into the bathroom, and I could hear the water running, the sound echoing through the silence of our apartment. I felt a surge of anger and desire as I thought about Mark, how he had pulled her into his world, filling her head with dreams and fantasies that no longer included me. I couldn't hold back any longer. I knocked on the bathroom door, my voice low and urgent. "Eliza, can we talk?" The water stopped, and she stepped out, wrapped in a towel, her skin glistening. She looked at me, surprise mingling with something else, something I hoped was desire. "What's wrong?" "Everything," I replied, stepping closer. The air crackled with tension, and I could feel the heat radiating between us. "I see the way you look at him. It's like I don't even exist anymore." She took a step back, her expression shifting. "You're being paranoid. Mark is just helping me." "Helping you?" I scoffed, unable to keep the bitterness from my voice. "Or is he taking you from me?" Her eyes narrowed, and for a moment, I thought I saw a flicker of anger before it melted away. She approached me, the towel slipping slightly, and I caught a glimpse of her smooth skin. "What do you want me to say?" "I want the truth, Eliza," I breathed, my heart racing. "Do you still want me, or is it him?" She hesitated, her gaze dropping to the floor. But then she lifted her head, her eyes fierce. "I want to be a star. I want this life." "And what about us?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. She stepped closer, her breath hot against my skin. "You don't understand the hold he has on me," she confessed, her voice sultry and tempting. "It's exhilarating. He sees me as more than just a wife." The air between us thickened, charged with a dangerous mix of passion and betrayal. I felt my body responding, the urge to claim her, to remind her of who she belonged to, warring with the fear of losing her completely. Before I could think, I pulled her close, our bodies inches apart. "Then let me remind you," I said, my voice low and commanding. I leaned in, capturing her lips with mine, feeling the warmth of her mouth, the taste of her longing igniting a fire within me. In that moment, all the pain, jealousy, and desire collided, and for a brief instant, it felt like we were back to where we started. But deep down, I knew the truth: the distance between us had already been created, and the shadows of Mark loomed larger than ever. As our lips parted, I searched her eyes for a sign that she was still mine. But there was a flicker of uncertainty there, a shadow of doubt that hung heavy in the air. Eliza took a step back, her expression a mix of confusion and desire. "I don't know what to think anymore," she whispered, her voice trembling. The weight of our reality pressed down on me. I had tried to pull her back, but in that kiss, I had only confirmed the chasm that had formed between us. "Eliza, I love you. I want us to work through this," I said, desperation creeping into my voice. She looked away, her fingers brushing over her wet hair, and I could see the turmoil in her eyes. "It's not that simple," she replied softly, her words cutting deeper than any knife. Mark offers me a world I never knew existed, a world that excites me in ways I can't explain. And what about us? I pleaded, my heart racing. What about our life together? She hesitated, the silence stretching between us like a taut wire. I don't want to lose you, but I can't ignore what's happening between us, she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. In that moment, I realized that the more I tried to hold on, the more I was pushing her away. If you need to explore this, then do it, I said, my voice steady despite the pain slicing through me. But know this, I can't wait forever. Her eyes widened in shock, and I saw the truth of my words sink in. You're giving me an ultimatum? She asked, her voice rising slightly. It's not an ultimatum, it's a choice. You need to decide what you want. Do you want to chase this dream with him, or do you want to fight for us? I felt a sense of clarity wash over me, despite the heartbreak that accompanied it. She stepped back, her gaze unwavering. I don't know, she finally said, her voice trembling with uncertainty. I nodded, swallowing hard. Then maybe you need time. But understand, I can't keep living in the shadows of your choices. With that, I turned away, my heart heavy as I walked out of the bathroom, leaving Eliza standing there, the towel slipping from her shoulders in the aftermath of our confrontation. The air was thick with unresolved tension, and I could feel the pain of loss settling deep within me. That night, I packed a few things and left the apartment, stepping into the cool night air. The city felt different, foreign and isolating, as I walked the streets, my heart aching. I had given her the space she needed, but with it came the realization that our love, once vibrant and alive, was now a flickering flame. Days turned into weeks, and as I tried to find my footing, I couldn't shake the feeling of emptiness. Eliza's absence was a constant reminder of what I had lost. I threw myself into work, but no distraction could fill the void she had left behind. Then one evening my phone buzzed. It was a message from her. Can we talk? My heart raced, a mix of hope and dread flooding through me. I agreed to meet her at our favorite cafe, the place where laughter once flowed as freely as the coffee. When I arrived, I found her sitting at a corner table, her expression unreadable. Eliza, I said softly as I took a seat across from her. Hi, she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. We exchanged a heavy silence, the weight of our past hanging in the air like a storm cloud. Finally, she spoke. I've thought a lot about what you said. About the choices I have to make. And? I prompted, holding my breath. I need to be honest with you, she began, her gaze steady. Mark was exciting. He opened my eyes to things I never knew I wanted. But in the end, it made me realize what I truly value. My heart raced at her words. What do you mean? I've missed us. I've missed you, she admitted, her voice trembling. I thought chasing my dreams would bring me happiness, but it only showed me that I don't want to lose what we have. Hope surged within me, but I couldn't ignore the ache in my heart. So what does this mean for us? I asked, my voice steady. I want to fight for us. I want to rebuild what we had, she replied, her eyes shining with sincerity. But I need your trust. I need to know you'll support me without fear. I took a deep breath, feeling the walls I had built around my heart begin to crumble. I can do that, I said, my voice firm. But it will take time. I won't pretend that the scars don't exist. She nodded, tears brimming in her eyes. I understand. I'm willing to put in the work if you are. In that moment, something shifted. The weight of our past lingered, but the promise of a new beginning flickered in the air. It wouldn't be easy, but I realized I wasn't ready to give up on us just yet. As we left the cafe, the night felt lighter, and I took her hand in mine, feeling the warmth of her skin against my own. We walked into the uncertainty together, knowing that love, though tested, could still rise from the ashes of betrayal. And perhaps, just perhaps, we could find our way back to each other, stronger than before.